I went to East Gary Edison High School, graduated in '48, and then I went to work at U.S. Steel for 3 weeks, and I said there's got to be something better to do, and I joined the Navy. I went and signed up in Gary, and then they sent me to Chicago, and from Chicago they took you right to the Great Lakes. And we got there towards the evening, so they just put us in a spare area until in the morning. And then next morning you got issued clothing, you got everything you needed for that. And then they started you on your program of training. And we had a very good training instructor. He was a first class, no, chief. He was a chief, and we had a second class assistant. And of course, when you do that, you get up in the morning at 5:30. You go through everything you have to, and then we weren't very good at marching with guns. So if you didn't do good, they run you around the grinder, which is a big open field with a mile track. And when you graduate, then you go to your school that you picked. And they told me, he says, Mr. Donovan, you can have anything you want, sonar, radar man, this and that. I said, I want to be a cook. They thought I was nuts. The Missouri come back from wherever it was at, which I don't remember, but that's when they sent me aboard the Missouri. And that's my favorite ship, the Big Mo. We happened to be on, in 1950, we were on a midshipman cruise to Boston and Halifax, Nova Scotia. And at Halifax, Nova Scotia, I was on Liberty, and I come back early. In other words, usually it's till midnight or something like that. I come back at 10 o'clock, and the officer of deck says, Tom, he says, go back ashore and have some drinks for me. I said, what are you talking about? He says, we're going to Korea. The next morning, like I said, I was a commissary storekeeper, so the next morning, I had to fill out a whole bunch of orders for groceries, and we would order 90 days supply, like I told the gentleman there, something like 80,000 pounds of sugar, 100,000 pounds of this, 50,000 pounds of that. You know, it's a lot of food. We got orders, instead of going into Japan, we went directly to 32 miles south of Vladivostok, Russia, and started firing. Yeah, and then we fired at places all the way down the coast towards Busan, and then we went to fired at Wonsan, and Wonsan, we see, our guns can shoot 16 miles. The 16s, they shoot 16 miles, and we would fire at the guns in Wonsan. See, they had caves. They would run them back, and then when we stopped firing, they'd run them out and shoot at us, you know, and whatnot. And but our guys got so good with the 16s, they could drop them right down a smokestack. At Wonsan, we think at one time they said they were afraid there was a submarine out there, and of course Korea had no submarines. And it happened that later on we found out it was a Russian submarine, and what they were doing, they were mining the seacoast in front of Wonsan. So the second time we went to Wonsan, we had to stay back for the things, and we had minesweepers, and we lost 2 minesweepers, and one more minesweeper was in trouble, and they called for help. Now, we're a big battleship, and you get in close. We had to get in real close to help these guys. Well, the admiral at that time says, "You're not taking my ship anywhere near that area." And Captain Duke, which I told the gentleman here that was one heck of a captain, he told the admiral, he says, "Sir, this happens to be my ship. You may leave. We're going in." Now that takes guts. And we did. We went in there and we laid down a whole barrage of fire with 5-inch 16s until they got the minesweepers out of there. When you're operating the guns, that's your general quarters station. And when you get done, then you go back to your regular job, which was, at that time, I was doing commissary storekeeper. I was the one that took care of the groceries. But when you went to general quarters, boy, that was it. You went in there and you got ready to fire. I'd have the shells ready there, and when they said fire, I'd throw them shell in there, up the hoist it went, and the guy up there would take it out, throw the shell in there, and then the hoist on the other side of my hoist was the hoist for the projectiles. The guy would send a projectile up, he'd fire that in there, and then the guy would hit the thing, and away it'd go. I think it did me well because I learned that you have to take responsibility, you have to do your thing, and you have to do it right. Because, like I said, with the shells, you don't do them right, you're going to blow yourself up. Look at the Wisconsin there when she lost that one turret. I enjoyed the Missouri. It was something.